been being bad, and I've been not watching.
No, I know it's the holidays. So Elon Musk, lost a lot of his Tesla shares because he's tanking Twitter, and he's had to keep that afloat. And then there was some deal where he was in Qatar, and he was with the Saudi Arabian royal family, who actually, people don't know this, own a lot of Twitter. I mean, they own billions in Twitter because they're so for free speech in Saudi Arabia. Anyway, so he was with them.
That does seem weird.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. So he was with them.
We'll breeze past the oddity that is.
Right. So he was with them, and there was some speculation that they were not happy. And so pretty soon after meeting with them, he put a poll on Twitter on whether or not he should remain CEO or step down. And he said, what?
Why? Just why is this a good idea?
Well, and he said he'd step down if he lost the poll, right? So you actually...
I am not basing my career choices on a Twitter poll. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm not doing that.
Well, see, I gave him more credit. My thought was the Saudis were sitting there going, hey, if you want us to help you invest in this or invest more money in this to help you out, then you need to step down. And so I thought, okay, he's doing this as an excuse to step down, right? It's a justification, right? I was wrong, and you...
I think you're giving him a lot of
I gave him way too much credit. He was completely wrong.
Way too much credit.
Because he lost. Go ahead.
Listen, I've got to give him credit for the areas where he is genius, and I absolutely will. But he does some really interesting things, some really strange things. And I know, Duncan, the way that brain of yours works, you really work real hard to try to find the thread of logic. You think there is one in there. And sometimes, my friend, it is not there.
I know.
Man.
Sometimes it's hard.
Not there.
It's hard for me to believe people are this reckless and stupid. But this was the magic. So he lost that poll by 14%. And now he's sort of denying it and saying, no, it was deep state bots or something ridiculous. So now he's trying to back off the poll. It's just ridiculous. It's like, okay. So we'll see how that goes, if he steps down or not. It doesn't look like he wants to at this point. So the other big billionaire...
Okay, hold on. Is this one of those like crazy narcissistic moves where it's like, clearly everybody loves me. Nobody's going to say I should step down. I am the face of the company, yada, yada, yada. I'm connecting the dots that you're the face of the company, just kind of tanking it.
Well, I think that's the problem, and that'll actually end up being kind of a theme today, which is a lot of these guys, I don't know necessarily if they're stupid, but they surround themselves with yes men. So everything is reaffirmation. So if you're in that bubble all the time...
Yes, sir, you're so smart, sir. You're such a genius, sir. You're so talented. You're so charming. Right. Everything you say is so witty, right?
Yeah, right. Anybody who walks in and says, hey, I think that's a really bad idea, gets fired. Right? And so because of that, I think they start believing the hype. And to give you a great example of this, the Washington Post did an article this week, and it was on Donald Trump and his current situation. And he was really upset because, one, he doesn't have as many Secret Service guys, right? Because he's not the president anymore. He just has a few that rotate around. Was upset about not having access to Air Force One because his 747 is from the 80s and it needed a ton of repairs. It took years to repair it. And then he was getting upset about, he would try, the press wasn't covering his rallies anymore, really. And then he got upset because he called a press briefing and didn't realize nobody'd show up because he's not the president. Nobody cares what he has to say, right? So what his staff did was they called all these people and they kind of begged all these local reporters to show. So they got a couple local reporters to show up and pretend like they were doing a story when really they were there reporting on something else. And he's got a guy that follows him around on the golf course now when he goes golfing and reads him stories that are about him that are positive stories from the newspapers. And that's what the guy does. That's a job. That's how fragile his ego is.
I am so sorry. I am not paying somebody to follow me around and tell me nice things about myself. Quite
Right.
frankly, the idea of somebody following me around telling me nice things about myself kind of gives me heart palpitations. I'm not gonna lie.
But see,
And I like myself. I think I'm pretty great, but like I do not need someone following me around and doing that. I think it's creepy.
no, because you don't need the reaffirmation every 30 seconds, right? So, but that's the problem is
No, but oh, good grief.
that's the problem is these guys, they need sycophants around them, tell them how great they are. In fact, his advisor, he doesn't have a permanent advisor. He has a few advisors that kind of fly in and out, which is really sad because you know what that means? That means the advisors are calling each other, going, okay, whose turn is it to go kiss his ass? I'll do it for 1 week and then you're up.
You go.
Yeah.
You go. No, my Christmas present is I'm not going this week.
No, it reminds me of these guys always. I can't remember the name of the movie. It was from the 50s. It was an old movie, but it was a woman who was a famous actress and she hadn't been famous in like 20 years. But her butler would write her these fan letters and give them to her and read them to her to make her seem like she was still famous and popular. And he'd make up stories about her in the newspaper that weren't there, right? And read them to her. And so she thought she was famous. And then he'd throw these parties where he'd invite people over. And the people she'd come down the stairs and they'd all applaud, right? And kiss her ass and tell her how wonderful she was. And then when she'd go upstairs to bed, they'd all applaud. And then as they're leaving, the butler's giving them money. Because he's just paid these people to show up and kiss her ass just because she needs it. And that's how she lives her life. She thinks she's still famous and relevant, and she's not. And that's kind of what happens with Trump. Is like they have the guests at Mar-a-Lago, and the members are required to applaud him when he enters and leaves the room. It's that sad of a state. So he'll come down to dinner just to get applauded, and then get up and leave just to get applauded. I mean, that's just how it goes. So
Super weird.
I know it's sick, isn't it?